to, it's just incredible what they're able to do. So you have to know your teacher, you have to know what's going on in your classroom, and you have to arm your students or your children to know what's going on. Another big way this is coming in is through accreditation companies. It used to be that the state board was the accreditation entity for local districts. But they said, oh, well, that's kind of like the system policing itself. We should get we should change it so we can have third-party accreditation companies come in. So it was changed. Now you've got groups like Cognia, which is what the next big battle that Lisa has in Canyons. It's an accreditation company. If you go to their website, it's all critical race theory. And yet they've almost finished signing on with them. And it's one of the most popular accreditation companies along the West Coast. So find out what district or what your district is using for accreditation, and go to research that company and see, because if this district doesn't teach what the accreditation company requires, then they don't get accredited. And that is everything in this new environment. That's one of the ways that they are able to clamp down.
Now, can the individual schools choose not to use the curriculum that the district has purchased? Can a principal say, from our school, we're not going to use that curriculum? Or do they have to?
That's a good question. I would ask. I don't know for sure.
The question then becomes, what do they use? Because the teachers they want to have to equip the students with skills to be able to learn, because they can handle their emotions and some of the good things about the social emotional learning. And so the teachers do need some resources at their disposal that they can teach.
Right.
Goal setting, that they can teach kindness.
Right. And Canyons has, when they announced it Tuesday night, said they're going to create their own social emotional learning program, because they are required, if they took the money, to have some kind of social emotional learning. But if parents can get in there and educate them and form a partnership with them and say, this is what should be, this is what we want. We want the classic literature taught. We want music. We want these things that actually build capacity in a student in healthy ways, instead of focusing on, like the one parent that said, I didn't know our school was even teaching social emotional learning until my daughter came home and said, oh, it's really cool. We do these like morning circles, and we sit around and the teacher asks us to tell about all the sad things that have happened to us. Okay, part of the reason they do this is so that they can bring up, so students can spontaneously bring up things that the teacher is not otherwise allowed to talk about unless it comes up spontaneously. So if a child says, well, I want to be a girl, or my dad abuses me, or these kind of things, that then you're in this group and all these kids have just heard that and are now going to have to figure out how to deal with this, because their parents don't know, and to be able to follow up with them, and the teachers aren't trained. This is experimental therapy by untrained teachers.
Is there any SEL program that you've researched that you've liked, that you would recommend, or are they
what is the one?
1776 Unites.
So I don't know that that's a social emotional learning program specifically.
It counteracts the CRT.
Right. I mean, we just need to go back to teaching true history and teaching about Americans of all backgrounds that have innovated and achieved and overcome. That's where kids learn that, you know what, I have this challenge, but I can overcome that just like this person and become a better, stronger person. I don't have to remain a victim. Okay? Whereas social emotional learning is teaching kids that they are victims,
right,
and that they'll always be a victim. On my Facebook page, I just posted a privilege walk. It's on paper, and there's a picture of a football field with the yard lines, and then this list of questions. If you were born into a family with a mother and father, go 5 yards forward. If you were in a single parent home, 5 yards back. And all of these questions, if you have ever been teased or treated poorly because of your race, and in the end, it's really discounting or making children feel guilty if they've been blessed or if they came from a strong home, and were given opportunities, and it makes those that didn't have those feel like victims, and it's not good for either one. Okay. and it denies personal choice and responsibility, or it puts choices of the parents onto the student and makes them feel like it's their fault, or that that their parents have created this problem for them that makes them different from their peers, and they want to fit in, right? So it's, again, trying to drive a wedge between the parent-child relationship and make children question their parents. So let me just jump down here. There's a bunch of helpful resources here at the end.